And I'm certainly not above reproach. But when it comes to this political, economic, social welfare issue, okay, I know what I'm talking about here. And until somebody can prove me wrong, until we give it a try, okay, then, you know, I'm right. Let's just leave it at that because this system is deathly afraid. Okay, the establishmentarians, the grand puppeteers, and all the minions thereof, whether they're witting or not, are deathly afraid of solving problems because their relevance, okay, is entwined in the problems. So it's imperative to keep the problems intact and hopefully proliferate them for job security and relevance. It's that sick and twisted. So, yes, there's a justifiable argument for cynicism here, a valid argument for justifiable cynicism. But sometimes I do feel like that. Who was it that said, "Be careful not to stare into the abyss too long, lest you become the abyss"? And that's the kind of fear I think I was feeling last week. Is that, I feel like these guys, I can't stand them so much. I'm repulsed by the evil in the land and evil people. I mean, like, I was already upset about watching Forensic File with this freak that would kill a 9-year-old little girl and rape this little girl and kill her. I mean, yeah, I would be glad to take that guy out with my bare hands. If I couldn't, if he didn't let me restrain him, then I would probably have to, subdue him any way I could. And if that meant knocking him unconscious, so be it. And if that killed him, so be it. I mean, but who's going to hold me at fault for something like that? I mean, things happen, right? But it's very upsetting. And I'm upset, I guess, this whole analogy Alex brings up about the squirrels in the park and feeding them. What's he alluding to? Welfare, that giving stuff away is bad. I mean, is that what you're going to tell God? I mean, remember, the whole monetary system is based on rules of men. It's an invention of men. Money is an invention of man. God didn't invent any money. So men came up with this idea. So the whole idea that, we just can't conceive of a world entirely without any form of money, that's intellectually dishonest right there. Have you ever explored it? And you say, yes, I have. And you say, well, there was this obstacle in my mind and I couldn't figure out how I would overcome that obstacle. Well, deal with one obstacle at a time, okay? When you come to that obstacle, ask God, with your God-given imagination, your ability to think, see a way around that obstacle, and you'll find it. I promise you, I guarantee, try it. Try it. We all have the ability to imagine a world entirely without any form of money, with absolute prosperity across the board for everybody, universal prosperity, okay? Total prosperity. Everything your little heart desires. That's right. That's right. That's what I'm talking about here. So money need have not a damn thing to do with prosperity. The two are conflated by deliberation. That's it. Because who makes the rules? Evil people are making the rules. And they make the rules of how we think, what we're taught, what we're not taught. How we're informed by the mainstream media, all this kind of stuff. How we're malinformed by the mainstream media. Okay, how we're disinformed, misinformed. And the lack of information that we're given. You understand how all these things play a role in our paradigm and our thinking? So we need God. We need God's help to think properly. Perception is reality, my friends. So we all have to perceive properly and ask God for the proper perception to have. But last week I did have kind of a perfect storm of emotion going on. And if I sinned, all I can do is admit it, confess it. So I'm sorry to anybody. My object certainly isn't to offend people. That's not going to help. That's not going to unify. That's not going to do a damn good thing. So nothing good is going to come out of that. And I don't know who out there is praying for me, but I appreciate it if anybody is. And I, of course, am praying for everybody. God help us. I hope He's gentle with us with the day of judgment. Alex Jones has been vacationing in Hawaii. He had a preacher on the show, and the guy was saying, "Oh, God's not angry with America and all this." Well, ask David Knight about the abortion issue if he thinks God is angry. I think David Knight would disagree with that. So would a lot of other preachers out there. They would disagree. God is angry with Israel, and America is a metaphorical extension of Israel. We're all Jews. We're all Israelis. 12 tribes of Israel and all that. And yes, he is. You think God's not angry about dubious warfare? You think God's not angry about the wealth and income disparity in the land and all the problems that are associated with the criminal industrial complex and the welfare industrial complex that's been set up by need because of that problem? I mean, we got all these problems, and we want to blame the effect. That also makes me nuts. You see, when we look at the effect of the problem, okay, like the economic desperation in the land, the need for the welfare, and then we condemn the effect. We can't worry about the cause. That's inevitable. We can't stop these money masters of misery. So, you know what? We got to just look at the effect and blame them that they're not strong enough, and they shouldn't need welfare, and they're just this entitlement class and all this. That makes me nuts, and that's why I can go off. That's what'll set this dog off the leash and make me want to rip somebody's throat out, metaphorically speaking. But please have mercy on me too, and understand that I've been watching this thing unfold for a long time. I've been opposed to social, political, and economic injustice for many a decade. Okay, and it reaches a fevered pitch sometimes, my frustration level, because I keep seeing it getting worse and worse and worse. The problems out there, the wealth imbalance, and the difficulty of entering middle-class home ownership. It gets harder and harder. So, don't tell me you want a $15 an hour. We're going to blame the workers for cost of living inflation. How fair? It's a bunch of rubbish, man. Okay, the equivalent buying power of $1 an hour 55 years ago is the math has been done. It's close to 40 on average. On average. In some areas, it'd be much higher than that, just to have the same buying power as that $1 an hour. So your money has been clipped down to nothing, man. You got a sliver left, and people are going to, want to debate this with me. I mean, you don't know what the hell you're talking about here. And this isn't incompetence that's happened here. It isn't the fault of true capitalism. It's the fault of crony capitalism, which is the diametric opposite. Why is it the diametric opposite of true capitalism? Because it produces the opposite results, the opposite effects. Lionel was on the Alex Jones show from Lionel Nation with David Knight, and talking about our stance on torture. And I wholeheartedly agree with what they were saying. Before I ever heard of Alex Jones, going back to about 2004, I guess, and I called into the Nancy Grace show, a radio show, and Abu Ghraib was in the news, and I was just livid about that whole thing. And I told her how un-American, anti-American that behavior was, how these people are representing America. And I just totally I let the dog off the leash on that show. But I enjoyed it. But, I had to get that off my chest, and it felt really good. But, yeah, I agree with these people that this is the wrong approach, that we should have the highest standards. And, it's due to others as you would have done to you. It's really pretty basic and simple. But people are loyal to, it's not effective either. People will lie and stuff, too, and give you malinformation, misinformation, just to keep from being tortured, so it doesn't work. Has anybody seen these Trumpy Bear ads out there? God, they're the stupidest thing in the whole world. Somebody's cashing in on Trump by making these little cheap-ass teddy bears and selling them for a fortune. They're probably getting them for 50 cents each, right? And selling them for what, 40 bucks or something for a stupid little teddy bear? Full-grown adults pushing these things? It's bizarre, man. Locally here, we had a skateboarder going downhill, and he blew a red light and hit by a car. I ask, what kind of driver could avoid that possibility? That is one of those incidents when no matter how careful, good a driver you are, sometimes you could hit and kill somebody, and so you can never be too careful. But you got to wonder what the skateboarder was thinking. Like that happened on the Dr. Phil